You can be next to there. A little soft. Kevin started. Sorry, what? Yeah, it was. Anybody know any good jokes?
Yeah, lighten it up a little bit.
Your own brand.
There's a different meaning to move out the camera than I am.
No, most animals aren't there as well.
Hi, everybody good with sound, visual, ready to go? Okay, perfect, thank you.
Hello, good morning. All right, hi everybody. So we're here with some of representatives from our wonderful law enforcement agencies that have done such an incredible job. So Sheriff Gonzalez is here, Chief Christensen, and some of their leadership. We also have Mark Sloan, the Emergency Management Coordinator, Mel Bardis, who is our Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator here for Harris County. Brand Green is the President and CEO of the Houston Food Bank, Amanda McMillian, CEO of the United Way, and Mary Vasquez, who is the Vice President of Community Outreach for the United Way of Greater Houston. So today is good news. We are out of the woods now. It will be partly cloudy, and there's like a 15% chance of a drizzle somewhere. So thankfully, no more major threats from the rain right now. We can absolutely see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we've made it through the worst of this weather event. Now, the challenging part, of course, as too many people know, is they're waking up today seeing that they need to deal now with recovery. There is a bridge phase that we're in right now, where we're coming out of the response phase and we're going into the recovery mode. So we're sort of straddling between those two right now. At this time, as of 10:30, we are lifting the mandatory evacuation order, which means it is okay for folks to go back to their homes, obviously being careful. Our Office of Emergency Management is decreasing its activation level from level 1, maximum readiness, to level 3, increased readiness. That is the second lowest readiness level. I know that a lot of folks were displaced by this weather event. I personally met some of them. I saw the damage. And I know that evacuating is stressful. But I do want to thank people for following our advice. Flooding is one of the leading causes of death in these kinds of situations, and we haven't had a single death that we know of. We haven't had any major injuries that we know of. That happens, of course, because of our first responders, but also because of the individuals in the community who heeded our warnings and who took responsible steps in evacuating themselves and their families. So I want to thank people for that, to thank the neighbors for doing their part. I want to thank our sheriff's office, our fire marshal's office for all your incredible work, and of course, all of your teams. I've been just so impressed with how professional and committed these men and women have been. There are other fire departments, of course, and I want to thank them. They've been working day and night all throughout our region, and I know that the residents who were rescued by them are grateful, but I want you all to know the entire community sees and recognizes your work. I can't possibly thank all the partners, of course, but I do want to acknowledge our federal partners, the state, the city, all our commissioner precincts, and our nonprofit partners, especially the Red Cross, the United Way. We're going to have a lot more going forward. And finally, everyone at the Harris County Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. They've been working so well. Mark Sloan and his team. And we're the only county in the nation to have a designated meteorologist. So I also want to thank Jeff Linder, who's not here because it stopped raining, but also because he's out in the field assessing the flood gauges. So we send a special thank you to Jeff Linder, who gave us accurate forecasts so that we weren't caught off guard by the major flooding. And that, I believe, was crucial to saving lives and keeping people safe. As far as rescues in total, as of this morning, 233 people have been rescued and 186 pets. And what I've heard, and of course the sheriff and fire marshal will be able to comment more on this, is that the rescues have really slowed. I don't think there really have been any since this morning. Here's what folks can expect today when they go back home. I know people want to see how their home is doing. And right now, the West Fork, you may still not be able to get to certain areas on the West Fork of the San Jacinto River, but the river's coming down pretty quickly. For people, particularly on in the Bella Woods, North Shore, Forest Cove neighborhoods, it's still going to have high water in some roads. Most other areas you'll be able to get to. Most areas, in most homes there are elevated, they won't be flooded, but of course on the roads there may still be flooding, maybe around 3 feet. Most roads are cleared in Kingwood, and so we think that the rivers are falling a little bit faster than the forecast is showing, but we do need people to be careful if they're going home and there's still water on the ground. Just remember that it's still important, even though the storm is out, to never drive into high water. That standing water may have debris, may have animals, may have hazardous materials, and that we need folks to just really give animals a very, very wide berth. There are rats, snakes, spiders, you name it. As far as the East Fork, the impacts right now in terms of the water that's there are significantly better. By tomorrow, we're expecting no water impacts on the East Fork in terms of accessibility. There still may be some water on a few of the roadways, but it's decreasing very quickly, and most roads will be opened back up at this point. Down at Rio Villa, which is south of Lake Houston, it is still flooded. The road is still underwater, so we don't believe that there's going to be the availability or the ability to go in really safely, maybe even into late tomorrow or even early Wednesday. But that's just for folks in the southern part, and we ask folks to just use their judgment, of course. If you were impacted by the recent flooding and you need help of any kind, please call 211. 211 can connect you with resources. Right now, these folks are working. They were just on a call just before we got here on activating all the resources. So 211 is led by the United Way. And what they do is they have a list of partners and they really itemize who can do what. So right now, all the partners are raising their hands and saying, you know, this is what I can do, this is when I can stand it up. But many of the services are not quite stood up yet. We'll know in the next 2 to 3 days what exactly is available, and we'll make an announcement and folks will be able to access that via 211. But just know really that's the number that everybody needs to know. It's available in multiple languages. What we do have available right now via 211 is the most urgent needs for this moment, and that is, of course, food and shelter. And so 211 will connect folks with the organization that can help muck and gut homes. So they'll come out, they'll help you even get your belongings out of there and just make the structure livable to where there's no black mold and you can stay there in some instances as opposed to having to stay somewhere else. In terms of the food situation, we have here the president of Houston Food Bank. They have delivered so many truckloads up to our entire region. And the way they do that is they drop off ready-to-eat food. Currently, it's ready to eat. They're not assuming anybody has the ability to cook in various distribution centers. And so if you call 211, you'll be able to know which distribution center is closest to you and go and pick up a quantity of food for yourself and your family as well as water. So we know that those are the most urgent necessities right now. After that, we'll work on, as the other resources are stood up, there will be case managers that will help individuals via 211 access whatever resources are available to them, whether it be via the Red Cross, other organizations, and just how to help hold them over as they rebuild. In terms of cleaning up, getting the water out of their homes, making sure belongings are safe is really, really crucial. I want to make a point here about obviously mold and mosquitoes. These are the main two threats we have right now in the homes. So on mold, that's why you want to get it out as soon as possible, that black mold, before it becomes an issue for your family. And then mosquitoes, it is mosquito season. And as folks know, standing water is breeding grounds for mosquitoes. They can carry very dangerous diseases. And so our public health department will be out there in the affected areas. We'll be doing some testing. And if an area tests positive for disease, they will spray that. But they can't be everywhere. So we need your help getting rid of standing water as soon as possible, as soon as you get back home, tossing out anything that collects water, like tires, unused buckets, for example. If you were not affected but you want to help, here's what you can do. In terms of donations, you can reach out to 211 and they'll connect you to one of our nonprofit partners like the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, Catholic Charities. Those are the partners also that are working on standing up their recovery phase. The Houston Food Bank is also accepting both financial donations or food item donations, which Brian's going to talk about. And always you can call 211. If you want to volunteer, I know in the past different organizations, churches, affinity groups have worked together to help with mucking and gutting. And what I've learned from the experts is there's sort of a right way, there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. And if you don't do it properly, the mold can come back, or folks who have flood insurance, the insurance may end up not covering that because of the way the home was mucked and gutted. And so what we recommend is that you please volunteer via Volunteer Houston, which will connect you to the organization that is really professionals, so to speak, in the mucking and gutting. And the name of the organization, Mark? Crisis Cleanup. Crisis Cleanup is the organization. So you can go directly to Crisis Cleanup and, have your group participate through them. And if not, again, you can call, you can go to volunteer.org/volunteer, or if you call 211 as a volunteer, they will point you to that website. So, 211 is the place to go, and which is great that we have this resource. On our end, as I said, it's our bridge right now from the response phase to the recovery phase. And so we have county employees right now. Jeff Linder's surveying the gauges, making sure we understand how everything worked and exactly what the water levels are. But we also have our engineering team. We have our precincts and various organizations going door to door to see which houses were affected and how bad the damage was. And that's important because we help get the state that information so that they can request aid from the federal government. We're also working on the preparing for debris collection. So that's getting underway. Those trucks are going to be moving through. We have Commissioner's Court tomorrow in case there's any additional approvals we need to make, but that's another immediate need before we begin the long-term recovery. We're also working with our state and federal partners to do everything we can to get more significant resources, not so much just the bridging resources. And so we don't think that this emergency will be to the scale that we'll be able to receive grants for affected individuals to be able to rebuild their homes. But I know that Governor Abbott is going to push for as much as we can possibly get. And I will be in DC starting tomorrow night to advocate for this as well. What more likely we'll be able to receive are Small Business Administration loans. So those are very, very low interest loans for families, but of course they're loans. So renters can borrow up to $40,000, homeowners up to $200,000, and businesses up to $2 million. Governor Abbott will submit a request for a presidential disaster declaration in about a week or so, because the state is still evaluating the impact throughout all the various areas. And from there, we expect the approval to get SBA loans will be about 3 weeks after that. So we will likely not be getting the approval until early June for people to be able to go for those low interest loans. As far as our buyout programs, part of the reason I'm going to DC is to advocate for those programs to come, for those funds to come down faster, because we know that there are people, I personally talk to people who would like to be bought out because they are in these affected areas. But of course, at some point, you rebuild enough that it's not worth selling your home at that point. They know, though, that they're going to be flooded again. And so what we want is for these voluntary buyouts to be able to take place sooner than later. But right now we're looking at about a 6-month process, if that. We've tried, our team has looked into it and seen how fast they can make it. And so that is all because of the processes with the federal government. So we'll be up there trying to advocate for faster processes and see if we can help with that this time around or in a future situation, so that the community doesn't have to wait. But we will be sharing information, even if we can't make it go faster, about how people can get bought out later on if that's what they choose to do. So we're definitely getting to the other side of this now. Upstairs is pretty much emptied of our partners that have been really directing the boots on the ground. But that doesn't mean our job is done as community leaders, as Harris County, as nonprofit leaders. So we're getting the data we need. We are also working on setting up physical recovery centers in the affected communities once all the various resources are stood up, so that they can help folks navigate the resources in person. And the information will help us figure out, what exactly we would need for another flood bond. It'll help us learn lessons so we do better next time. And so just know, as you begin assessing the damage to your homes, you're not alone. We do have these immediate resources, as I said, many people working on mucking, gutting, on food and water, and then other entities standing up to see what additional aid they can provide. So let me just stop here, and then I'll repeat my remarks in Spanish. But I do want to say, I really appreciate everybody working together on this. The community, the nonprofits, law enforcement, emergency management, the state, feds, local. I'm really grateful. I know that a lot of people are seeing terrible impacts, but within the destruction, I'm really thankful for all the work people put in and helping us save lives. So let me repeat briefly in Spanish, and then I'll pass it on to the sheriff. We will also have Chief Christensen speak, along with Mr. Green, CEO of the Houston Food Bank. So ya se ve una luz al final del túnel. Hoy día va a haber, creo que un 15% de chance de lluvia, está nublado, o sea, nada que ver con esas inundaciones que hemos tenido esta última semana. Hemos pasado lo más difícil del clima, pero obviamente ahora sigue la dificultad de la recuperación, la restauración, y quiero que sepan que no están solos, estamos aquí todavía, aunque se hayan ido los socorristas. Nosotros, como condado, como organizaciones sin ánimo de lucro, seguimos enfocados en esta situación. Estamos oficialmente, a partir de las 10:30, ya no existe la orden de evacuación obligatoria y está bien que regresen a sus hogares. Nuestra oficina de manejo de emergencia está bajando el nivel de activación. Entonces fuimos de nivel 1, activación máxima, a nivel 3, que es simplemente un nivel un poco preparatorio, pero es el segundo nivel más bajo. Quiero agradecerles a todos, realmente, especialmente a los residentes. Sé el tiempo difícil que están pasando, estuve en los vecindarios hablando con varios de ustedes y sé que muchos han perdido todo. Pero quiero que sepan que nos han ayudado a salvar vidas. Este es uno de esos desastres donde casi que siempre muere gente. Se fueron rescatadas más de 233 personas, 186 mascotas, y no ha habido ni una muerte, ni una historia verificada de algún problema de salud significativo. Entonces, sé que evacuar es muy estresante, pero al ayudarnos a evacuar, a ayudarse el uno al otro, nos han ayudado a prevenir muertes y nos han ayudado a prevenir peores impactos, no solo a la infraestructura, sino a las familias. Quiero agradecerle también a todos los socorristas que han trabajado día y noche. El alguacil está aquí, su equipo trabajó muchísimo. La directora de bomberos aquí del condado Harris también estuvieron fuera día y noche trabajando con los otros bomberos locales, a quienes también quiero agradecer. Trabajé directamente con estos hombres y mujeres muy dedicados, muy profesionales, incansables, realmente dedicados a su trabajo como socorristas y queriendo ayudar a cuanta gente era posible. También quiero agradecerle a nuestros socios federales, estatales, la ciudad, los precintos y nuestros amigos aquí de las organizaciones sin ánimo de lucro, y hay varios que no están representados, como la Cruz Roja también. Y obviamente nuestra oficina de manejo de emergencias han trabajado también día y noche para intentar liderar esto. El meteorólogo que tenemos, Jeff Linder, es el único meteorólogo, somos el único condado que tiene un meteorólogo dedicado a las emergencias. Y es de verdad que para mí él ayudó también a salvar vidas porque sus predicciones fueron correctas. Y por eso fue que pudimos decir que era necesario evacuar. Entonces, ¿qué va a suceder el día de hoy? Si está en el brazo oeste del río San Jacinto, puede que todavía no pueda llegar a ciertas áreas, pero el río está bajando rápidamente, especialmente para las personas en los vecindarios de Bella Woods, North Shore, Forest Cove. Todavía va a haber agua bastante profunda. Las demás áreas, por ejemplo en Kingwood, están casi ya bien en cuanto al agua. Las calles ya son pasables y allí no hubo inundación de estructuras. En el brazo este, la situación es bastante mejor en cuanto a la cantidad de agua ya mismo. Entonces, de repente algunas calles tengan algo de agua, pero no va a ser mucha. En el área de Rio Villa, al sur del Lake Houston, ahí sí todavía está bastante alta el agua. Entonces, a medida que regresen a sus casas, les pido que también tengan bastante cuidado. Para empezar, hay animales de todo tipo, arañas, ratas, culebras. Entonces, por favor, tengan cuidado y no se le acerquen a ningún animal. En cuanto a escombros, hay de todo igual que pueda ser peligroso, entonces utilice guantes y equipo de protección si puede mientras va pasando y va moviendo cosas. En cuanto a apoyo, ahorita estamos en lo que llamamos un puente. Es un puente entre la etapa de emergencia y la etapa de recuperación. Entonces estamos haciendo un poquito de ambos. Lo más urgente en este momento es el proceso de remover la sedimentación, todo lo que está en los hogares que puede crear ese moho negro que es peligroso para la salud. Y también la comida. Hay personas que no tienen, obviamente perdieron la cocina, el refrigerador, entonces ¿cómo van a comer? Para esos ambos tenemos recursos. Entonces aquí el número de aquí en adelante para las personas afectadas en este proceso de recuperación va a ser el 211. 211 es un número operado por el United Way de hace ya muchos años. Entonces, si usted ha sido afectado, llame al 211 y lo conectarán con un grupo de profesionales que van y de voluntario lo ayudan a sacar sus posesiones de la casa, a hacer el muck and gut para que no haya problemas con la pared, problemas de moho, y saben hacerlo bien. Obviamente no van a pedir ningún tipo de documentación de papeles, y el 211 también tiene personas que hablan español y varios otros idiomas. En cuanto a la comida, el Houston Food Bank está ofreciendo comidas ya que no hay que preparar, que están ya preparadas. Va a haber hay varios centros de distribución a través de la región, entonces habrá uno cerca a usted. Llame al 211 y pregunte cuál es el centro de distribución más cercano a usted. Puede ir, recoger comida para su familia, agua, y ellos están asumiendo que no tienen cocina, entonces la comida ya está lista. Si necesita apoyo de salud mental durante este tiempo, también el 211 lo puede conectar con recursos. Si llega a casa, también piense acerca del agua que esté ahí estancada, porque ahorita es la temporada de mosquitos y esos moscos son peligrosos, llevan enfermedades. Entonces, si ve agua estancada, por favor, elimine eso, sea un balde, sea una llanta, lo que sea. Es una de las cosas más urgentes que tienen que hacer. Igual nuestro Departamento de Salud Pública está en los vecindarios evaluando si esos mosquitos traen alguna enfermedad, pero pues no pueden estudiar todos lados. Voluntarios, si usted no fue afectado pero quiere ayudar, ¿qué es lo que puede hacer? Puede donar dinero a través del 211, ellos lo conectarán con una de las organizaciones, bien sea la Cruz Roja, Catholic Charities, etcétera. El Houston Food Bank también está aceptando donaciones. Si quiere ser voluntario, lo mejor que puede hacer es ser voluntario a través de la organización Volunteer Houston. Entonces va a volunteerhouston.org/volunteers y ahí puede inclusive ayudar con el proceso de remover la sedimentación, el muck and gut. Entonces, por favor, no lo haga fuera de esta organización, porque el hacer ese proceso, abrir esas paredes mal, podría o hacer que el moho regrese o inhabilitar el seguro de inundaciones que ciertas personas puedan tener. Entonces, a través del Volunteer Houston tienen una organización que les enseñará bien cómo hacerlo. Pueden traer su iglesia, lo que sea. Igual pueden llamar al 211 y que los conecten con Volunteer Houston y esos servicios. Por nuestra parte, hoy día estamos evaluando los niveles de agua y también estamos evaluando todas las áreas afectadas, a ver cuál fue el daño, para darles información al Estado, al gobernador Abbott, y poder pedir apoyo al gobierno federal. También estamos empezando el trabajo para recoger escombros. En los días que vienen vamos a estar pasando por esas calles para recoger escombros. En cuanto al cualquier ayuda del gobierno federal, estaré yo en Washington desde mañana por la noche, pidiendo el apoyo máximo. Lo más seguro que yo creo vayamos a recibir son préstamos con muy bajos intereses. No creo que la cantidad de personas afectadas sea suficiente para que el gobierno federal nos envíe dinero que no haya que pagar de regreso. Entonces, eso sería por ahí alrededor de junio, porque toma tiempo que el gobernador pida eso y además que el gobierno federal lo envíe. Todavía tenemos nuestro programa de buyout, donde puede usted trabajar con nosotros y el gobierno federal para vender su hogar y así poder y no tener que reconstruir y poder ir a vivir a otro sitio. El problema es que el programa es lento, no está no va a recibir la opción sino hasta después de como 6 meses. Entonces es otra de las razones por la cual voy para Washington, a ver si se puede acelerar. Es probable que no se pueda con este desastre, pero de repente el próximo igual puede pedir información a través de nosotros, el 211. Pero pues yo sé que la gente tiene que reconstruir a veces. Bueno, finalmente entonces quiero darle las gracias a todos nuevamente por ayudarnos. Sepan que no están solos, aquí estamos trabajando, aunque ya no esté lloviendo, aquí estamos trabajando. Hemos activado ya nuestro grupo, nuestros equipos en el condado, no tanto en la oficina de emergencias. Y sé que es un tiempo difícil, pero como región somos casi expertos en salir adelante. Y eso lo vamos a hacer todos juntos, y que nuestros amigos, nuestras familias, todas las organizaciones, entre todos, miramos a ver cómo vamos a salir adelante y se va a poder lograr. One thing I forgot to mention is if folks need mental health services, they can also access them via 211. So let me pass it on to Sheriff Gonzalez and the other speakers, and they will take questions.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning. I'm Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, and thank you for joining us, and thank you, Judge Hidalgo. Last week, storms rapidly developed in East Harris County and Northeast Harris County, leading to rescues and flooded roads. The Harris County Sheriff's Office, the Fire Marshal's Office, volunteer fire departments, ESDs, and Commissioner precinct camps saved or rescued over 233 people and 186 pets. This does not include stats from other partners such as the Houston Police Department. We want to thank our heroic teammates and first responders who worked tirelessly to rescue people and pets during this recent storm. Your dedication and bravery are truly commendable. At a personal level, I want to commend members of my team that are joined here from Major Nanny, Major Razzo, and Lieutenant Jasper. They were all instrumental in our response. Major Nanny oversees some of the patrol districts that were impacted. Major Razzo oversees the flood rescue teams and our Marine teams that were deployed, and Lieutenant Jasper was the operational leader that was out there hands-on, making sure we were deploying safely to all the rescues, and had his hand in many of those rescues that we stated. He just did phenomenal work, and want to also commend the team that's here year-round, making sure they're working with all the different partner agencies. I know Deputy Stover, Sergeant Martin, and others that do phenomenal work. We're so proud to work amongst consummate professionals that really take emergency preparedness serious, because it really is a team effort. We really couldn't do it alone. It really takes an entire collective working together to make sure that we're prepared. And it's not just about preparing for one event. It's relentless preparation year-round for whatever may come our way, whether it be severe weather or some type of an industrial incident or beyond. We are ready. As an agency, we always prepare for that worst-case scenario and encourage our residents to do the same. Since Hurricane Harvey's historical landfall, our agency has devoted more staff and resources to high water equipment and swift water rescue training to ensure the safety of our communities. Now more than ever, we recognize the importance of the Harris County Public Safety Bond that passed in 2022. I want to thank the voters as well as Judge Hidalgo at Commissioner's Court. The $7 million funding approved enables Harris County to invest in the new flood water rescue training facility that will be located in North Harris County. This project is already moving along, and we're projected to break ground in early 2025. This regional asset will be the first of its size in the state of Texas, only the second of its size in the entire United States. 9,500 square foot facility, a tank will hold more than 100,000 gallons of water, and a 40 by 80 foot tank. Remember, the time to prepare is now. Yesterday was the first day of Hurricane Preparedness Week, June 1st. June 1st marks the start of the 2024 hurricane season. If you haven't already, finalize your emergency plan. Stock up on critical supplies, bookmark preparedness resources, and stay informed. You can't stop a hurricane, but you can act now to protect yourself and your household. Put together an emergency plan and ensure every family member knows what to do. Visit Ready Harris to sign up for local emergency alerts, learn about disaster supply checklist, get evaluation tips, find helpful websites, and more. Remember to always have a plan and stay informed to protect yourself and your loved ones from severe weather threats. For those affected by severe weather, please know there are resources to help you. Please reach out to readyharris.org. This is also a moment to create a support network of nearby loved ones and neighbors. Develop a check-in system in advance and make yourself available to those needing to lean on you during an emergency. Stay informed and be ready before a storm hits. And again, want to just commend everybody that came together just so seamlessly to respond to the community, not only our agency, but everyone. We work seamlessly with the Harris County Fire Marshal's office. It was tremendous. And again, the work's going to continue at this point, now that we are no longer actively doing rescues. We are increasing our patrols in the areas that were affected. We know that it may take a while for some folks to return back into their home and may still be away, and we want to make sure that they know that we have additional patrols out there. The judge mentioned that debris crews will soon be moving in as well to help with the debris removal. So just ask everyone to first be patient and be cautious as well. There'll be a lot of different work crews out there. We'll try to coordinate with them to provide some traffic control support out there. But just slow down if you can, and there may still be some high water in some streets, so be careful as you're navigating that. A lot of the storm covers may have been removed and other things. Judge mentioned some of the animals and debris and things that may still be out there. So just be safe as you're walking around. There's exposed nails from wood and other things, and just want everyone to be safe. But thank you all to our community for always stepping up. We're a resilient community. I know it will continue to recover from this, and couldn't do it without the tremendous leadership at the county. Thank you, Judge, the commissioners, and all area partners as well. And of course, I want to commend and ask our Fire Marshal to please come up, Chief Christensen, to speak a little bit more about their efforts.
Good morning, Laurie Christensen, Harris County Fire Marshal. And just to reiterate what Judge Hidalgo and Sheriff Gonzalez has said, we are partners year-round. And fortunately, y'all have heard me talk about the 53 fire departments we have in Harris County. We work together, we train together, we meet monthly. This doesn't just start during an emergency. So what you saw was this collaboration, and that's our role in the Fire Marshal's office. Our job is to collaborate and ensure all partners are talking, which in this particular instance, we were able to pull resources from other parts of the county that are not affected to ensure that all residents were taken care of in the areas they needed. And so I want you to know that you as residents of Harris County are a big part of this. And the sheriff alluded to all the preparations you need to get ready for. I'd also ask you to talk to some of your neighbors, maybe who weren't here during Harvey or who have not been through a hurricane season. Now is the time to prepare. You are the most critical first responder for us, you, the residents of Harris County. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, make sure you have those critical papers ready, make sure you know where a safe place you're going to go to. Maybe talk to some family members if you decide you're going to leave during an emergency, because we, within the public safety region, we're here to do the rescues, we're here to facilitate the partnerships, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure you have prepared your family and you're ready to go. So thank y'all again for all of your support. Judge?
And now we'll have,
Hi, I'm Brian Green, President of Houston Food Bank. To all the households that have been affected, I'm very sorry for what you're going through. Your neighbors want to help. Houston Food Bank and our partner, Montgomery County Food Bank, we see this every day. We work with literally hundreds of voluntary organizations, churches and other religious organizations, community centers, a number of United Way agencies that they're there, they're deep in the neighborhoods, and they want to help. We are currently distributing food to those organizations. They are deep in the communities. The best way to find out where those supplies are available is through United Way's 211. You can also go on our website, houstonfoodbank.org. We have a map, an interactive map. You put your zip code in, you can see which sites are open where, what their hours are, and the supplies that they can give you. Currently, we're emphasizing water, ready-to-eat foods, and disaster, what we call disaster boxes. We're going to be transitioning, trying to get more of the cleaning supplies, and over time, trying to provide just general assistance to help the families that have taken a serious financial hit, who don't have other resources. The thing to recognize about a disaster is in the first few days, I mean, it could be anybody, and we're all, all can be in need. You never know if it's going to be you. As this goes into weeks and months, it's actually the lower income households, working households that don't have a financial cushion. Those are the ones who suffer the most, that it can literally be a year or more before they're fully recovered. These organizations in your neighborhood, they're going to still be there for you to provide you food as a form of financial assistance to help you get by. So far, we've distributed about 8 tractor-trailer loads of resources to these organizations that are directly helping disaster victims. We have many more tractor-trailer loads coming in on the way. Because there's not a federal declaration yet, it's kind of, we're relying on just the voluntary donated flow that mostly comes from the food industry. But the other food banks around the country are helping, so we're pulling food from literally all over the country right now, and this will keep going to make sure that we're serving neighbors in need. We wish you the best.
thank you so much. We'll take any questions. So the estimate we're developing right now, as far as how much damage it was and the value of that damage, and it's a tedious process, right? Because folks have to literally drive up and down the streets and take a look at what things look like, and hear from residents. So But it's a necessary step in particular for us to secure aid. Without that information, the governor can't request the small business assistance loans and, try to obtain other additional help from the federal government.
You mentioned debris pickup for homes. What's the actual timeline? Is it starting tomorrow, end of the week? What?
I would say days. I don't think, Mark, do you have any additional to add?
Until we get the windshield.
Mark Sloan, Emergency Management Coordinator for Harris County. Speaking to the debris management, the first thing we have to do is the windshield assessments, find out what's actually out there. People haven't even gotten back to their homes to start removing any of the damage in the muck and gut process. If it's drywall or furniture, clothing, electronics. So we still have time while we assess how much is getting piled up. Again, tomorrow, engineering will give an estimate of what they expect based on what they're seeing today and tomorrow. And if necessary, we can pull contracts or work directly with the commissioner's office. As debris begins to get out onto the street, we will coordinate through engineering with either the contractors or the precincts in order to go out and pick up the debris. Again, there's still water on the streets, so it's going to take a few days. It isn't going to happen by the weekend. But it's an ongoing process of debris management once we understand the magnitude of those that have been affected and how much damage is in their homes.
And is the process, people should still just call and say, hey, I have.
I think our windshield assessment teams and engineering, along with the, Commissioner Ramsey's office, Commissioner Garcia's office, it's Precinct 2 and Precinct 3, will be out there seeing the debris and stuff that starts to get piled up so we can quickly expedite the measures necessary to pick it up as quickly and effectively as possible.
Well, and what I want to add is, of course, too many families were affected, but it's pretty clear as far as which roads and which neighborhoods. You need to be there to see the extent of the damage, but the fact that there will be debris is generally clear. And so, yeah, I really don't expect it to go beyond a few days. And certainly, as Mark said, once the water has gone down, we've given a chance for people to put their materials out. But if it becomes a problem after that, folks can always call 311, which will connect them to the county, wherever they are in Harris County. But we're aware, and the precinct commissioners, they know those neighborhoods, they know what's been affected, and they're the first to tell you that they know how much it matters to people to have that debris collected.
Pues en cuanto a los refugios, continúan abiertos, han agregado otros o se mantienen los mismos.
En cuanto a los refugios, ahorita hay el mismo uno. No hemos tenido mucha necesidad en los refugios aquí en el condado Harris, entonces realmente nos estamos usando el que está en Cleveland. Pero pues esos números sabemos que van a bajar a medida que la gente regrese a sus hogares. Okay, so we'll keep you guys updated, especially as our nonprofit partners get stood up. And again, a huge thank you and a reminder to the community that we're all right there with you. Thank you.
See you again.
I remember now. I was like, oh my goodness, yeah.